right? Like it's not like I love boxing. It's like top 3 favorite sports.
Yeah.
But if you're arguing with someone and his friend hits you in the back of the head with a baseball bat, it's different.
Right.
Right.
You can be Floyd Mayweather or Mike Tyson. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe Mike Tyson. I think that guy.
I think Mike Tyson.
I think that guy has a skull like an orangutan or something.
To the head. Yeah.
That guy's crazy, man. Anyway, funny story. I was at the Wynn one night, super late playing poker, and Mike Tyson walks in.
This is already a Vegas story.
And he's got the 2 biggest fucking scariest bodyguards I've ever. Like, these dudes made Suge Knight look small.
Right, exactly.
And I go to the dealer and I'm like, whoa, first of all.
Right. Yeah.
Second of all, I'm like, why the fuck does Mike Tyson need bodyguards? He's like, no, man, he comes in here all the time. You don't understand. Those bodyguards aren't there to protect Mike Tyson from you. They're there to protect you from Mike Tyson, because people would walk up to him and just start talking shit and thinking they were going to fight Mike because, you know, they're drunk and they just lost $100,000 gambling or whatever. And he's like, dude, oh yeah, Mike's pretty much beat 3 guys at the Wynn to within an inch of their life because they thought they were going to be tough. So now he can only come in here with bodyguards to protect our clientele from Mike. And I was like, wow, that's wild. But even him, if you have a bat or a knife or a gun, doesn't matter.
And that's kind of the scary thing, right? And that's sort of the Achilles heel of sport martial arts, right? Wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, BJJ, especially BJJ. I think, you know, BJJ creates such good BJJ fighters so quickly.
Whoa, that was a giant bug.
There it is. It's a grasshopper. You know, it creates such good fighters so quickly because you can essentially go to 99% of, I'm going to cripple you. And then the person can just give up, high five, keep rolling. Right. So you can train with the utmost intensity.
Yeah. You've been about a centimeter away from snapping my ankle off.
Right.
And then I just get to tap and we get to start over again. Where if that was a real fight, I would not be walking normal for the rest of my life.
Your wife would be helping you out of the bathtub, right?
Yeah.
But it's always sort of like confined, right? Like boxing, you can't hit below the belt, whatever the rules are that people point at, right? But it's a sport at some point.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't have in your head that not everyone's playing a game, you're going to be a guy who arm bars a dude on the street and gets stabbed like 10 times in the stomach, or gets his head kicked in by your friend, this dude's friends, or whatever it is. Like, and that had occurred to me. I was like, I don't know anything about like knives. And then I was like, oh God, everyone has a knife.
Right.
There's knives everywhere. There's not, like, if I break this glass, I've got like 3 knives, you know?
Right.
Oh God, you know? And so I was like, I need to figure this out like real quick if I want to like not be so freaked out every time I see like a contractor with like a carpet cutting knife on his belt or whatever, you know? And the other thing too is like, I think most people that really study martial arts, like the first thing you understand is how vulnerable you are.
Oh yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how good you are. Like you're vulnerable.
Have you ever been knocked out?
Mm-hmm.
So I was boxing with Eddie Sanchez, and Eddie Sanchez used to be my boxing instructor. Great dude. I don't know, like 6'1", 130 pounds, or one of these crazy super lightweights, you know?
Right.
He probably walked around at like 150 and then would cut down to like 135.
Right.
And we were boxing, and he was this guy who was like a journeyman, and then he's at Pachanga Casino, and he's like eating nachos. And the dude who was supposed to fight for the title that night gets out of the limo, slips, falls, and breaks his elbow. So they go up to Eddie and they're like, hey, can you make weight in 5 hours? And he's like, he gets on the scale. He's like, I guess I could drop 12 pounds in 5 hours. So he does. He fights for the belt that night and ends up winning like a WBC, whatever, it's flyweight or something. No, I'm good. So he was the champ, and then, proceeds to get his ass beat in the next fight, because now there's expectations.
Right.
Anyway, a phenomenal boxer. And crazy story, he's driving home from a boxing match with a prospect, a kid who's under 18, who he was like very fatherly to. They get into a fender bender with some meth head, and the meth head comes charging for the car. He gets out. He's like, Scott, I punched this dude in the face harder than I've ever punched somebody in my entire life. He went down. He got back up like a fucking vampire because he was so methed out of his mind. His face was split open like the Predator.
Sure.
Like I could see his chin bone all the way up to the cartilage on his nose, and he stabbed me in the chest, collapsed one of my lungs, and so Eddie never fought again because he only had one lung. It punctured his lung. They had to remove it. They had to remove like 3/4 of his lung. So his cardio was shit because he had like one lung.
He's on 50% capacity automatically.
Yeah, but he was a great instructor. So we're going at it, and we're sparring one day, and he's like, hey, man, calm the fuck down. Like, you don't really know what you're doing, but you throw a really hard punch. So like we're sparring, we're like, we're throwing some water here, but calm the fuck down. And I was like, I'm fucking badass.
I'm sparring with Eddie Sanchez.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's like just pivots to the side. And to this day, I don't know if it was my kidney or my liver. He hit me so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like my brain was still alive. Yeah. But my body was dead.
It's weird, right?
It's so weird. It's like just turning off the lights on your body. And I fell to the ground, and I'm like twitching like a dead fish. And like you're totally aware. Yeah. So you're like, I need to get up. He's going to punch me in the face. He could kick me in the face. Luckily, we were friends. He just walked off the ring. He goes, you'll be fine in 90 seconds. Yeah. And I'm on the ground like fucking twitching like an invalid. And I can't move my body. It's like, it's an off switch. And I remember thinking about it after that, like, oh, I'm never going to get into a street fight. Because if somebody landed that punch in a street fight and then stomped my head, I'd be dead. And so when all these guys at the gym sometimes they're like, yeah, well, what I would do in a fight, I'm like, what I would do is try to de-escalate it, buy the guy a beer.
Yeah. Right.
And then run away.
Listen.
And if he's still coming at me, I'm going to grab my gun.
Yeah. And first of all, like just full disclosure, I used to be possessed of that, like, I will fight.
You had that little man syndrome, didn't you?
No, I had I don't know if you would call it little man syndrome, but that's fine. Yeah. But it was more just like, I wouldn't talk to you that way.
Right.
So you must think I'm garbage, and I don't appreciate that. And
such a Texas thing.
That's exactly what it is. It's that old school, like, sometimes you got to stand for something, right? And it did not always serve me well in life. Right. Like sometimes you got to draw a line and stand up, and it's like, oh God, I'm in jail.
It's the worst.
Oh, he died. Oh God. Right. So, but you get a situation like that where. You think about like the story that you just told. An aging boxing instructor accurately touched you in the face.
Yeah, a dude with one lung.
Yeah, and he shut off your entire nervous system. That's dim mak. That's like old school, like mystical death touch, right?
Right.
And an incompetent dope on drugs nearly killed him.
With a knife.
Hey,
this quick interruption is brought to you by me, Scott Groves, the host of the On the Edge podcast. This podcast is brought to you by me. I'm a loan officer who can help you with a mortgage in all 50 states across the United States. I also coach loan officers. So if you are a home buyer who's looking to get a mortgage, if you're a realtor who's looking to partner with an awesome loan officer, or if you're a loan officer looking for coaching, get in touch with me. It's those sources of revenue that allow us to produce this podcast and get out a new episode to you every week for the last couple of years. So if you're looking for a mortgage, if you're looking for a mortgage lender to partner with, or you're looking for a mortgage coach, I'm your guy. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.